Joe Biden is in trouble, folks. And in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and break that whole thing down to you guys. So let's just go ahead and look over here. We have a new article that came out of ABC News where they actually did a poll that shows some very interesting things. And I just wanted to go ahead and go over it because I know that the Democrats are getting extremely cocky and arrogant. And we know this because they're literally not letting Biden do debates. They're getting to a point where nobody who can actually beat Biden is running, because don't get me wrong, I think RFK and Marianne Williamson are pretty decent candidates, right? But they're not strong enough to beat Biden, if I could just be completely honest. I do not see them beating Biden. And what the Democratic Party is doing is they're literally saying, everybody get out the way, be quiet, sit down, shut up. Biden is our guy. Because the Democratic Party believes that Biden is the only candidate that can beat Donald Trump. However, according to new polling data from ABC News, doesn't necessarily seem to be the case. Let's go ahead and look at it. So it says right here, President Joe Biden's drop approval rating hit a career low in the latest ABC News Washington Post poll. And abroad, 68% of Americans say that Biden is too goddamn old to serve another term as president. These views that put him in a trailing position against the top Republicans in early preferences for 2024 says right here, just 44% see Biden's potential opponent, Donald Trump, is too old. So let's just go back, okay? Because that's insane. So 68% of Americans think Biden is too ridiculously old, but only 44% of Americans think that Trump is too old. I kind of have an idea of why. I mean, if you look at Biden, like I said, I've said this plenty of times, and I really believe this. Biden, without a doubt, has some sort of mental or cognitive decline. You can't deny it. The Democrats have been trying to hide it for a long time. They've been trying to say, oh, you know, he's always had a stuttering issue and this, that. No. Mentally, he ain't all the way there. Okay. I don't know why we doubt that. When we look at Trump, you may dislike Trump. You might not agree with him, but you'd have to be an irrational human being who refuses to accept reality. If you really could sit here with a straight face and tell me that Biden is more cognitively competent than Donald Trump. Like, obviously, Donald Trump is cognitively in better shape than Joe Biden. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And Americans agree. That's why the polling is the way that it is. So it says right here, beyond chronological age, Trump far surpasses Biden in being seen as having the mental sharpness and the physical health it takes to serve effectively as president, with wide doubts about Biden on both fronts. Let's keep scrolling. Another difference looks equally problematic for Biden should Trump emerge as the Republican nominee. Americans by 36% say Trump did a better job at handling the United States economy when he was president than Biden has done in his term so far. This one doesn't surprise me. I think everybody thinks that. It's always been said. A lot of people are like, you know, there's people out there who say, oh, Trump is racist. You know, Trump is crazy. He's a liar. He's a criminal, whatever you want to say. But I think most Americans, even the ones who are Democrats, would probably all agree that the economy was in better shape under Trump. Everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks that when it comes to the money and the economy and all that stuff, everybody pretty much thinks that Trump does a better job. Whether it's true or not, I'm just giving you guys the picture of what the Americans think. And remember, these are the people who are going to be voting on the next president in 2024. So how Americans feel is an important metric that you're going to want to pay attention to. I can tell you guys from my personal experience, when I worked in politics, we didn't pay attention to polling too much, but we definitely did leading up to the election, right? Like, well, we did pay attention to polling now that I think about it, but we didn't do it as much as they do in presidential campaigns, which makes sense because I worked on state elections. But anyway, let's keep going. It says here, Trump is not Biden's only challenge. Given his weaknesses, both Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis lead Biden in preference for the 2024 presidency. Now, I want to make this clear, guys. According to this poll, everybody who basically voted in the poll said that if it came down to a Biden versus DeSantis matchup or a Trump versus Biden matchup, they would choose Trump or they would choose DeSantis. That's how upset a lot of people are at Biden. And it makes a lot of sense because I don't know if we got to that part of the article yet. Yeah, we did. Biden has a very low approval rating. I think according to the article, they said that he has like a 39% approval rating, which, just so you guys understand, if we read this section right here, Biden's approval rating is numerically the lowest on record for any first-term president a year and a half from the next presidential election in polling dating back to Harry S. Truman, But you know what's interesting about that? Most presidents who polled this low, going all the way back to about 1975, lost the election. We look right here. It says similar was Gerald Ford at 40% approval in May of 1975, Jimmy Carter at 37% in May of 1979, and Donald Trump, who polled at 39% approval rating in April of 2019. None of them were reelected. So what does that mean for Joe Biden? Well, in this article, they got the challenges. And yeah, I mean, some of the challenges are, one, people are not favorable of how Biden has handled the economy. I'm sure there's a bunch of other issues that people aren't favorable with Biden about. Then on top of that, people think that Biden is just too gosh dang old. I'll be honest with you guys. I think he's too gosh dang old, right? And I voted for Biden in 2020. And that's why I think that the Democratic Party might be a little out of touch here, because the Democratic Party thinks, well, Biden's the only guy we got that can win. Meanwhile, the polling so far, remember, it's still very early, but the polling so far is showing that, we don't really like Biden. At this point, we'd rather vote for Trump. And why is this important? Because this election could very well shape up exactly from what we saw in 2016. If you guys remember, by the way, 2016 was the first time I ever got involved in politics. I was of age like 21, 22 at that time, and I was in college. I remember that election very well because that was the first time I staunchly got involved in politics. I mean, I was eat, drinking, and sleeping politics all day, every day, campaigning. It was a crazy time. If you guys remember, a lot of the polling data showed that most Americans, I know Trump had a cult and he rose to prominence and a lot of people loved him. But if you really looked at the polling data during that time, a lot of that polling data showed that many Americans didn't like either candidate. You had a lot of undecided voters and independents who did not like either candidate. They couldn't stand them. They hated Hillary. They hated Trump. But what happened was when it came down to it, when it finally came down to the last moment, a lot of those voters who didn't like either candidate, the lesser of two evils, so to speak, they went with Trump. They felt that the anti-establishment, belligerent, honest guy who speaks his mind was a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. The same kind of happened in 2020. Nobody really liked Biden or Trump either, but everybody voted for Biden because they were just tired of Trump. They were tired of extremism. They were tired of a lot of things. Now we're looking at it where things might flip again. Now people are tired of Biden. That's what it's looking like according to the polling data. And according to this polling data, it looks like the situation we saw in 2016 could very well happen again in 2024. A lot of people could end up swinging from Biden. And obviously, we're not talking about the super strong Democrats. Obviously, the folks that vote Democrat every election, no matter, vote blue no matter who, those people, obviously they're going to vote for Biden. But we're talking about those undecideds and those independents. They are very likely going to vote for Donald Trump, at least according to this poll. And so where does that leave us? Well, in my personal opinion, as somebody who used to work in campaigns, I mean, obviously, those guys who are working on Biden's campaign are smarter than me. I'm not going to say and act like they're not. But I think that they're getting a little bit too arrogant. And I think they're strongly underestimating Donald Trump. I think they're looking at 2020 and thinking, oh, we won. We could beat him again. Just run Biden again. No. Biden's approval rating is in the gutter. Like, what they need to focus on is increasing Biden's approval rating. That's what they need to figure out. And for the love of God, please do some dang debates. I mean, this is getting ridiculous how rigged this stuff is. And Donald Trump's in the same boat, too. Donald Trump's not doing debates either, by the way, guys, just so you know. So Donald Trump isn't doing debates. Biden isn't doing debates. It's like, what kind of system do we live in? Like, this is so undemocratic. You're not even going to give the other candidates a chance. You're not even going to give them a chance to go up against you and see how they intellectually match up against you. You're just going to say, oh, nope, I'm the leading candidate. I know I'm going to win. So why even waste my time? I'd rather just wait until I win the primary. It's a sad system that we have. It's pathetic. It's terrible. And I wish there was something we could do about it. But anyway, yeah, I just want to say I hope the Biden campaign does not underestimate Trump, because I strongly believe that if they underestimate him, he could very well win again. So, yeah, anyway, there you guys have it. That'll go ahead and conclude today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.